Hi everyone, Luke BP, solo guitarist and singer here again. I am doing a slightly different video today, but before we get into it, please make sure that you like, comment and subscribe. As James May very wisely says, let's get into it. So, before I start, apologies, it's 7:45 here in the UK when I'm doing this video. And I've got one little lamp on, and this big lamp produces a glare so you can't see me and I get blinded. So, I'm used to working at night. Right, the video I'm going to do today is explaining a bit about a frustration that I have with a lot of the music industry, which is this. I was told from a very early age, probably about 12, 13 maybe, I was told by my music teacher at school. He told me that unless I knew the pentatonic scale, what is that? I will never get anywhere as a guitarist, as a musician. Okay, I have never ever even bothered trying to learn the pentatonic scale in my life, and I'm 16 and I'm doing paid gigs. I play guitar. I play electric guitar. I'm learning to play ukulele, I admit, but I'm playing electric and acoustic guitar live and doing my own PA side as well. So that leads me to this point. That's the kickstart of what I'm going to talk about. I don't think you have to know every single thing about guitar theory or guitar history even to be able to be a great musician. I'm going to relate to a musician here. I'm sure you all know him. If you don't, then why? Noel Gallagher. Noel Gallagher is a great guitarist and he does great solo work. However, most of his songs, his Oasis songs and his High Flying Bird songs now, which Council Skies is great, buy it. A lot of them use very simple chords in a simple structure. They do not use completely ridiculous solos. They do not. The lyrics are not overly complicated. Everybody can understand them. So, could you please tell me why he is one of the most successful musicians in the world today? In this country? Could you please tell me? The reason I started learning Oasis songs, they were my first songs that I started to learn on guitar. Only 3.5, 4 years ago, was Oasis. So, the reason I did that is because the chords were simple. If you listen to two of the songs, you can probably work it out. This is by the way, no criticism to Noel Gallagher. This is just fact. They're both very similar. In fact, there's three. That's a lie. There's three songs that are incredibly similar. The two songs, two of them, are exactly the same chord structure in the verses. Right, in the choruses and that, and the bridges are all different, but the verses are the same. They even sound the same. If you didn't know who Oasis was, you could mistake it for the same song. So that's why I started to learn Oasis, and I still play it to this day. And it's one of the biggest bands that I cover. I cover loads, but they're one of my biggest. They're the one that I'm more expert in. And it really annoys me when people tell me that you need to know everything about guitar theory to be a great guitarist. It's a load of rubbish. It is my opinion, but I also believe it's partially fact. Because I think learning everything about guitar theory is wonderful, but it's going to take you a very long time doing it at a normal pace, unless you want to stay up all night, all day for the rest of your life to do it. And it's just too. It takes the fun out of it. Playing guitar is supposed to be fun as well as a job. Initially it started out as, few people, few mates hanging together, playing a guitar, not plugged in at all. Just da 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 da. Look, I've got one here. Look, here's a guitar, not a real size one, but that's missing the pickup as well. Let's get a luthier to sort that. The strings aren't great on there. Awful. Anyway, they're all just going like that. So I turn it into a misery. Stop turning it into a misery. And I think turning it into a misery and making sure that you learn every single pentatonic scale or blues scale or whatever you want to call them, I think is great. And if you do, you're the greatest guitar on planet Earth. People like Clapton obviously can do all those kinds of things, but no disrespect to anybody like that. They're very good musicians, very good guitarists. And Clapton, like I've just said for an example, he's a great guitarist, but he's also a great songwriter. So he's great. But if you're only just a guitarist and you're not great at writing songs, there's no creativity. I bet you that people could go and watch me or Noel Gallagher. All right, we're not comparable, I admit, but we do the similar kind of music. Say that. They would pay to watch people like us do that more than people who are amazing but cannot connect with an audience whatsoever. Just stand there playing a guitar, don't ever say anything. You don't have to give them a lecture of your life story, but don't connect with them at all. Not on the same level. So I don't think pentatonic scales and everything adds up to being I am a musician, I can play live. I think there's a lot more to it than that. I think you have to balance it out between being a very good guitarist and being a good songwriter and being able to connect with your audience. My dad, it was and still is, although only part-time, but he's a DJ. And part of the reason why I play guitar is because I've been around older music. So I'm a young lad who does old music, which I suppose is I think is the gap in the market. And I think that's what people want. I think that's the future. That's what it is, playing live and playing this music that everyone else seems to be ignoring live. I've been around music, and he's always told me the critical line, and it is true. It's not my opinion; it's a fact. When you walk into a venue, especially a new one where you don't know you don't know the area particularly well, you don't know what the age group is in there or what they're like, what the character is, you don't know them at all. Look at the first thing you should look at. My pentatonic scale. No. Think simple. Look at what your age group is. The audience. If there's not many, alright, it's not great, but don't let it throw you. Just look at who you've got. If you've got, say, even if it's just 40 people, because a lot of pubs aren't that big, 40 people. Say you got 10 of them who are all young. 30 of them, however, are older. Alright, play a few, not new ones necessarily, but 90s. Play some 90s. I know everyone likes 90s, mostly. Some of the 90s are a bit naff in my opinion, but play some 90s to please the students, great. But don't spend all night playing 90s. Vary it. Play a lot more old than you do the 90s, because it's much better keeping 30 customers than losing 30 customers and keeping 10. Okay? You're going to get much more profit out of the 30 rather than the 10. So I've learnt that, and that has pushed my view forward, that it is not all to do with how you play guitar. It is what kind of music do you play, and how can you talk to that audience member without even talking to them, without even looking at them, and say, look, I'm going to take you back to a time in your life which is not a standard thing you do in your day. You've done the work and everything, you've come with your mates, you're having a nice drink or whatever you're doing, And you think, especially if you're an older person, good God, that takes me back. When you put on that, none of this phones and rubbish, put a radio on or you put a record on, and that's what comes out of it. And it's not just a song. It doesn't even matter whether it's any good song technically. It just takes you back to that moment and it connects to you. That's what I'm looking for. Now, obviously, you need to know chords, basic chords. C, G, A minor, E minor, D. If you're not a guitarist, then they're just the chord shapes that we use. You can use a capo to change the key, I think it's called, the key of them. Although I still need to understand key a bit, but again, I'm not focusing much on that because I don't really need to know. That's more of band stuff. But I'm learning it because I think it is useful. That one. But yeah, you can use a capo. So you've still got plenty of versatility with a capo. And I carry 3 capos with me, so I've always got spares, like everything else. So, what's my message? My message is, don't worry too much about if you're technically not very good on a guitar. Get good enough at being guitar, even if you don't get to being world stage with like the Beatles or Oasis, even if you don't get to that stage. If you just want to be a pretty good musician, successful in wherever you are, then just don't worry too much. Seriously, don't worry about pentatonic scales and things like that. Of course, if you want to do lead rock, then you're probably going to have to learn that. But if you just want to do pretty standard music, da 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 G. Doesn't help, does it? But if you want to do pretty standard stuff, like a lot of acoustic music, I admit electric music has got some guitar riffs to it, but just stick a capo on and play the chords, right? If you want to learn a song, then that's great. I know some Nile Rodgers songs the proper way, but if you haven't got time or you want to do it now and then, and somebody says, "Oh, I want you to play Nile Rodgers, Chic," okay, put a capo on and play the chords. It's not going to sound exactly the same, I admit, and there's a few nice little add-on bits that you're not going to get, but you create your own version of it. Obviously, don't make it sound completely different because then there's no point. Nobody's going to listen to you. But just make it your own and identify yourself with it. You don't have to be exact. Okay. I've seen so many people who say, "Oh, I didn't get that little blick right." Don't worry about it, mate. Right? Just let it be. See, let it be. Okay. I know, but I'm never going to be as good as them. You don't have to be as good as them. What matters is, what's your purpose there and then in that venue? And what are you doing that the musician before didn't do? Me, I look at that as, I'm doing music that people want, not my music that I like. Of course, I like pretty much all of what I play. I don't play stuff that I completely hate, which there are some stuff, that's my preference. But I'll play what the crowd wants. I'll read the crowd's mind instantly, and that's my skill. And I think the gap in the market is that, and in addition to that, a young person carrying forward the old music, which I will add is coming back in fashion. Noel Gallagher very helpfully hinted that there is not one song that he can think of in the last few years, modern song, that is good. To me personally, Coldplay, I'm not the biggest fan, but I think there's 1 or 2 Coldplay songs that are really good. I think they could do a bit more meaning, but I think they're good songs, and I think the band's great, and I think the way they work is fantastic. I'd say that's the best band around now. Apart from that, though, I can't think of any either. Noel, if you're watching, I agree with you. Older music. Let's from the 60s right through till 90s ish. Oasis, Beatles, Monkeys, Brian Ferry, Billy Joel, Irish ones, the Dubliners. You got loads, okay? The Kinks. Although I don't like Queen, but a lot of people do. That's just my taste and not my taste at all. But you got all those bands, and then you come up to 90s. I probably already mentioned them, but 90s like Oasis, Green Day, Stereophonics, that end. Okay, now. No. Oh, no. No. Okay. Now, Ed Sheeran, he's good. But is he fantastic? No. And people say, you're being a bit blunt with your opinion. Well, I am. Right? I don't think it's what people are looking for. Some people love it, and if somebody wants me to play it at a wedding or something, I will play it. Of course I will. I think a couple of his songs are great, but not all of them. I think it's overrated. And older music is coming through, and I think it's coming back in fashion. And I think that I don't necessarily believe that you're running out of music to write. I admit a lot of it's been written, so yeah, of course you're more restricted. But I think it's just more to do with the fact that not enough people are seeing that older music is coming back into play here. And I think that's where the future of the music industry is going. I don't think the future is in recording music, because it's all changed to being on phones, which, by the way, has completely ruined it. I think it's going towards playing live, because you can go on DJs. A DJ is great. I think they should keep going because you get a really good atmosphere. But I'm sorry, some people just stick it on the phone, which I don't believe in. I don't believe in annihilating DJs. I don't believe it. Probably maybe annihilating is a bit strong, but I mean like getting rid of the business. That's what I mean. I think getting that. I think the gap in the market is getting that feeling that you can't get by just playing it on a speaker really clean. When you play it with a band, or even just by myself like I do most of the time, or as a DJ, you can feel the thud. You can feel the atmosphere. You can connect with the person who's saying, I'm taking you back to that time, and I'm pushing this forward, and I'm being blunt with it, like Noel Gallagher does, like Paul McCartney does. But unfortunately, unless young people like me do it, these people are getting on. And I know that's very blunt, and that's very sad, because when they die, which they will in my lifetime in the next few years, because most of them are late 70s, early 80s, lots of them aren't very well. They're going to die, and they won't be playing them. And this old music will not get played unless young people like me take old music seriously, take the views of what I hear all the time when I do gigs, and I do enough to know. We need to push this forward. Unless we do, we're going to lose it. And that the day when we lose it, unless we do that, will come, and it will be so sad. There'll be no creativity left. Music won't even exist. And I'm being serious. So my message out of all that, and I admit it's negative stuff, but it's important. That's the point of what I'm doing, why I'm making this video. Pioneer old music. Don't bother about learning all these scales to absolute perfection if you're not that interested in doing so. If you're interested in doing so, you go ahead, but me, not really, no. Listen to your crowd, look at your crowd, learn how to get that, take on board how old people are and what characters they have, and have a chat to them. Don't be completely just go up and play and walk out, don't think you're it. You're one of the crowd. You're providing the music for them, not for you, for them. So have some respect for the crowd. If they don't respect you, of course it's different. Don't respect them back. But it helps me do my job easier, and it will help you do your job easier. I was going to say, listen to older people who are more wise than you may be. Listen to Noel Gallagher, Paul McCartney, Ringo Starr, Billy Joel. Even, I know Liam Gallagher, he's a very different character, but these people are still the people that made this music happen. So that's my message. Pioneer old music. I don't think you should move towards new music. If there's some new music that comes out that's wonderful, great. But old music is where we need to be going to keep the music future great and bright. Pioneer playing live, play live nicely, do it properly, do it professionally, speak to the audience, and don't worry too much about getting every single thing right with it. Just get it right enough to do the job and to be professional with it, and just listen to what the crowd want. That's my message. That brings me to the end of this video, and I obviously understand that a lot of that, some people will be ranting, but I think it's the truth, and I'm voicing what I think, and I'm voicing my concern for where we will go unless we change this, unless we change how we identify with ourselves. Don't think you're somebody when you're not. That's what I'm saying. Do it right, set it right. Don't try and do literally everything. Like, same thing with life, same with the whole of your life. If you're not an electrician, don't wire up your own house for a start. A, it's illegal. B, don't do it. It's dangerous. All these things, don't. If you don't want to go and do a gig, don't book it, right? Don't do it, okay? It's such an important job that you must not mess up, okay? If you get a chord wrong, I get a chord wrong all the time. Noel Gallagher even does. Who cares? No one cares. We're all human beings. But what you mustn't mess up is connecting with the audience and taking into account what they think. Do not ignore them. Please don't ignore them. So my message goes for guitars as much as it does for going for what you do in the rest of your life outside of music. Even if you're not a musician, it's a very good point to make. Okay, now that's the end of my video. I shall, as I always do at the end of each video, I give you a hint of what's coming next. Although it hardly ever goes to plan, because I always think I'm going to do something else, and it seems I can just do it right now like I've done this one. I've got no script, nothing. I never have any script in front of me, apart from playing music sometimes. I have no script. I'm just talking to you out my head, because I'm not reading a script. I'm hearing the real talking to you now. But anyway, what I was going to say, next video is probably going to be a demo of some sort, and it will be a demo of an instrument. Probably not this though, because I haven't found the guitar input on this. I've been trying, but the guitar cable's a bit big for this, to be honest. And I know you don't need to know the pentatonic scale, and I've said that you can play chords, but I don't think you can play much on this. Try play a G on it. Not working, is it? Anyway, thank you guys. Like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.